The strangest disappearances in modern history that still have no answers. 1. The vanishing of Brandon Swanson, 2008. It was May 14, 2008, when 19-year-old Brandon Swanson disappeared without a trace in rural Minnesota. Brandon was driving home late at night after celebrating the end of his college semester with friends in Canby. Around 1:30 a.m., he accidentally drove into a ditch on a gravel road near the small town of Lind. His car wasn't damaged, but it was stuck. Calmly, Brandon called his parents for help. His dad, Brian, answered. Brandon sounded clear, not panicked. He gave his rough location and told them to meet him on a gravel road near Lind. Brian and his wife got into their truck and drove out to where they thought he was. But when they arrived, Brandon was nowhere to be seen. They stayed on the phone with him for 47 minutes. During that time, he said he could see lights in the distance and was going to walk toward them. He believed they were in the town of Lind, less than a mile away. His father tried to guide him with headlights, horn beeps, anything, but nothing worked. Then suddenly, the last words they ever heard from Brandon, "Oh shit!" And the line went silent. They called him back, over and over. No answer. When police arrived later, they found his abandoned car, but not Brandon. What's haunting is that investigators later discovered Brandon had actually been walking in the opposite direction of where he thought he was. He wasn't near Lind at all, despite extensive searches involving dogs, helicopters, and thousands of volunteers. No trace has ever been found. No clothes, no body, no phone. Brandon simply vanished. 2. The Flannan Isles Lighthouse Keepers, 1900. On December 26, 1900, a ship called the Hesperus arrived at the Flannan Isles, a small, rocky group of islands off the coast of Scotland, to deliver supplies to the lighthouse crew stationed there. What they found would become one of the most chilling maritime mysteries of all time. There were 3 lighthouse keepers, Thomas Marshall, James Duckett, and Donald MacArthur. All were experienced, strong, and used to isolation. But when the Hesperus docked, there was no one to greet them. The lighthouse was eerily still. No flag was flying, no food cooking, no sign of life. Inside, the scene was strange. The fireplace was cold. 2 of the 3 raincoats were missing. A chair was overturned, and a journal entry from days earlier mentioned a severe storm, wild winds, and a strange sense of unease. But the weather had been calm in the days leading up to their disappearance. A final note read, "Storm ended, sea calm, God is over all." No bodies were ever found. The only clue was twisted iron railings and damage to a storage box, suggesting waves had hit hard. But why would all 3 men go out into a storm, abandoning their posts? To this day, people still speculate. Rogue wave, murder-suicide, paranormal forces? The island remains abandoned, and the mystery remains unsolved. 3. The disappearance of Flight 739, 1962. Before Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370, there was Flight 739, a military flight that disappeared with 93 U.S. soldiers aboard, and hardly anyone knows about it. March 16, 1962. Flight 739, a U.S. Army chartered Lockheed Super Constellation, was flying from Guam to the Philippines on a routine mission. Roughly 90 minutes into the flight, all communication was lost. No mayday, no distress call. The weather was clear. No mechanical issues were reported before takeoff. No wreckage was ever found, despite an 8-day search covering 144,000 square miles of the Pacific Ocean. Here's where it gets weirder. A Liberian oil tanker reported seeing a strange mid-air explosion near the flight path that night. They said the explosion lit up the sky. Then a second explosion followed seconds later. But the military dismissed the report and quickly classified the incident. Even stranger, because it was a chartered flight, the soldiers' names weren't initially listed on any public military memorials. It took decades for families to get answers, or at least recognition. Flight 739 remains one of the only U.S. military flights to vanish in peacetime under completely unexplained circumstances. 4. The Sodder Children Mystery, 1945. Christmas Eve, 1945. Fayetteville, West Virginia. The Sodder family, George, George, Jenny, and their 10 children were settling in for the night when a fire broke out in their home. George and Jenny escaped with 4 of their children, but 5 of the Sodder kids were trapped upstairs, or so it seemed. Despite the fire department arriving hours later, no remains were ever found in the rubble, not even bone fragments. Authorities claimed the fire had burned hot enough to completely cremate the children's bodies, but that doesn't add up. Appliances were still recognizable in the wreckage, and other fires had shown that bones always survived to some extent. Then came the strange events. A stranger appeared at their house a few months earlier, warning George the home would burn because of his anti-Mussolini views. A woman claimed to see the children peering out of a car window the night of the fire. Years later, Jenny received an anonymous photograph in the mail of a young man resembling her son Louis, aged up and smiling. On the back, a cryptic note read, "Louis Sodder, I love brother Frankie, a 90132 or 35. The Sodder family put up a billboard near their property with the children's faces on it, offering rewards for information. It stayed up for over 30 years. To this day, no one knows whether the Sodder children died in the fire or were kidnapped that night. 5. The disappearance of Lars Mittank, 2014. Lars Mittank, a 28-year-old German man, was on vacation with friends in Bulgaria in 2014. After getting into a minor fight at a beach bar, he injured his ear and was told by a doctor he couldn't fly due to possible rupture. So Lars stayed behind in Bulgaria while his friends flew home. He checked into a cheap hotel near the airport. What happened next was caught on security footage and has puzzled millions. That night, Lars called his mother, whispering that he was being followed. He asked her to cancel his credit cards. The next morning, he went to the airport alone and checked in with a doctor for clearance to fly. Mid-appointment, he suddenly stood up, looked terrified, and ran out of the room. Surveillance footage shows him sprinting out of the airport, leaving behind all his bags, including passport and wallet. He jumped over a fence and disappeared into the nearby forest. He was never seen again. There's no evidence of mental illness, no police report filed against him, just one haunting video of a man looking over his shoulder, running for his life. And we still don't know what he was running from. These stories aren't just strange. They're haunting because they leave us with more questions than answers. How can people vanish in front of our eyes in a world filled with cameras, satellites, and search crews? Some say foul play, others believe these are just tragic coincidences, and a few think something more sinister is at work. Which one creeped you out the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more spine-chilling mysteries, subscribe, hit the bell, and drop a suggestion for the next topic in the comments. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe.